What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. All right, moving on to Sixers Celtics. Weird game. They start with Jrue Holiday on Joel Embiid, and which, it was funny because it started with basically what they were doing is they'd have Porzingis and Tatum on either Oubre or Harris, and they would bring those guys in help, and basically just kind of like whenever Embiid kind of put Jrue in a precarious position, that's what they would offer, right? Is that kind of backside help, especially when Jrue was trying to front the post. And there was an early play where Embiid spun off on the baseline and like dunked easily along the baseline, and everyone's like, "Uh-oh, like I'm not sure this matchup's going to work." And then Jrue Holiday actually got a bunch of stops. In general, I thought their defensive strategy was sound. They held Embiid to 27 points on 10 for 20 shooting with 6 turnovers. In general, I thought it was a good defensive game for the Celtics, but it was a dominant defensive game from Philly. There was a late flurry from Kristaps Porzingis and Jaylen Brown that made it look closer than it was, right? Like Kristaps Porzingis got a wide open three on the left wing that could have tied the game. But it was a kind of a flurry of things. Jaylen Brown hit 2 really tough threes in that stretch, and Porzingis got hot with his above the break 3-point shooting, and it kind of came down to that. But this was a pretty dominant performance. Like they held the Celtics to just 87 points through right about 45 minutes of the game. It really comes down to that combination that I always talk about. Like, we're not going to hit the Timberwolves today. Timberwolves fans, I know you're wanting to. God knows I love the Timberwolves, and I'm super high on that team. I was high on them coming into the season, but I want to do a deep dive on them. So we have a really small slate tonight in the Thursday night slate. So tomorrow we are going to hit a deep dive on the Minnesota Timberwolves and talk all about how good they've been to start this season. But what did I talk about with the Timberwolves? Like, it's that combination of perimeter defense with rim protection. If you can kind of put those two pieces together, you can be an excellent defense, especially if you can control the glass. And the Sixers are kind of high on perimeter defenders. Like, DeAnthony Melton is a very good perimeter defender. Patrick Beverley, when he's actually guarding guards, is a good perimeter defender. They're getting really good perimeter defense right now out of Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, and then Nick Batum. I was impressed with him flying around screens and playing good physical defense. Had several really good possessions on Jayson Tatum. And so they're basically just hounding the Celtics perimeter players all game long because they can match up with their guards and with their wings. And then Embiid's behind bothering shots in the paint, right? And that's the thing. Like if you can really contain on the perimeter, at least to the best of the best that you're capable of against a team that's talented, you can actually start to bait the Celtics into their worst tendencies. Because like when the Celtics really are operating freely and they're driving and kicking and they've got all their guys in rhythm, they're damn near impossible to guard. There's just too much ball handling and shooting on the floor, right? But like if you can kind of stagnate them a little bit and force them to like really have to work hard to generate quality shots, typically they won't do that. They won't patiently operate to generate quality shots. They'll usually just start settling for quick early threes, and that was what they were able to do in this game. They forced them. I think the Celtics took 47 threes, and a lot of them were rushed early shots in the shot clock. Did they miss some open looks too? Yes, but that's part of kind of that process. Like you can throw a team out of rhythm, and then they start to miss the open ones as well. And that kind of looked like, again, like I don't care how good the Sixers played defense. I don't care how poorly they shot compared to their expected quality. The Celtics straight up should never have 87 points through 45 minutes of NBA basketball. They have too much talent on their roster for that to happen. And so that's the thing, is like it's kind of a two-part effort when it comes to slowing down the Celtics as it pertains to their talent advantage. You've got to do your part in terms of the defensive containment on the perimeter, but then you have to essentially count on the Celtics to piss down their leg for the other half of it, right? And like that's kind of been a consistent theme over the course of the last few years, is like the Celtics kind of have two modes. They have like their good basketball thought process approach offensively mode, and then they have their we're settling for bad early threes mode and making poor rim decisions and things like that. Like that, if you can bait them into that, you can cause real problems. And then I thought the late game offense from Philly was really interesting. Tyrese Maxiell really dominated the early portion of the fourth quarter, like basically from the beginning of the fourth quarter to about halfway through. He was really attacking Kristaps Porzingis in pick and roll. So there was a play, it was kind of like a sequence, and you could see the adjustments. So it started with Porzingis in a deep drop coverage. Maxey gets a good screen. I think Paul Reed was his screening partner at this point. Gets downhill, makes a floater over the top of Porzingis, right? So the next time they run it, Porzingis just switches, right? Because he's got to come out higher. They set a good screen and roll. Porzingis switches out to Maxey. Maxey takes his time, hits a dribble combination, beats Porzingis to the basket, and makes a floater to get another bucket. So then on the next switch, when Maxey gets Porzingis switched on the left wing, Derek White basically offers a soft double team from the right wing and basically comes over to the nail to basically help Porzingis contain Maxey on the switch. And so Tobias Harris just cuts out of the slot, and Maxey hits him with the bounce pass, and Tobias hits like a little 5-foot jump shot in the lane. So like, that's what's really impressive. It's impressive in a couple of different ways. First of all, it just goes to show you how dominant Tyrese Maxey can be in terms of his speed and beating people off the dribble. But secondly, that's the high-level shot creation piece. Like, if you need Maxey to be your best perimeter offensive option, and I don't know that he will be when the end of the season comes around, because I think the Sixers can make a trade, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But like, you want to see Maxey make high-level reads. You want to see him be able to deal with adjustments. Beating a drop coverage, beating a switch, then beating a switch with soft help or soft double team, that's an example of a progression. And he hit 3 of them in a row, got 3 straight buckets, and that was a huge part of their offensive success in the fourth quarter, right? So Joe Mazzulla responds by removing Kristaps Porzingis from the game. So from there, they run a ball screen, and Embiid gets a switch. So Embiid goes down to the post, and when they throw the post entry to Embiid, Horford tries to scram them out of the switch. And when he scrams them out of the switch, they're slow on the rotation, and Tobias Harris gets a wide open 3 on the left wing. Then on the down the stretch, we had the left block post up from Embiid. And again, like, one of the things you want to do with Embiid is you want to double off the dribble instead of when he has a live dribble. Double when he's dribbling versus when he's in a triple threat. Because Embiid, when he kind of can hold on to the basketball and protect it with his body, he's actually a decent passer. It's when he puts the ball on the floor that he really struggles to transition out of dribbling into making a read. So, but one of the things you can't do is make a really easy read for him. And the Celtics ended up doubling off of Tyrese Maxey 1 pass away. And in the process, it was just like Embiid was dribbling, but it's not a hard read. It's like, boop, right there. And easy left wing 3 from Tyrese Maxey. So like, they just basically picked the Celtics apart down the stretch of this game on offense. Did a really nice job containing them and forcing them into their worst tendencies on the defensive end of the floor. Again, we had that crazy run late, but then even then Embiid effectively iced it. I shouldn't even say that, because Porzingis still had a chance to tie, but they were able to go down to Embiid against the switch against Jayson Tatum, and he hit a really nice right shoulder fade over the top that was like an easy shot that he got great separation that he's probably going to hit 5 out of 10 times, right? So like, a lot of really encouraging stuff on the offensive end from the Sixers in that game as well. The Sixers have won 6 consecutive games since that regular season opener against Milwaukee, which in my opinion, they got absolutely hosed by the officials in that game. And you guys know I almost never say that, so clearly they did get hosed. They are now 5th in defense. They look awesome. And again, like I mentioned earlier, they are very well positioned for a midseason trade, which could end up pushing them over the top. Like, we're going to talk about the Lakers and a potential midseason trade later. And like, that's what's kind of exciting about the Sixers, is like, they're already good, even if they don't make this type of trade. Can they win the championship as currently constructed? No, not in my opinion. Not unless Embiid just finally translates his offensive success to the postseason, but that feels like a gamble. My guess is they're going to try to bring in more firepower, and if they do, they immediately vault into that top tier of contenders.
NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for throwing down $5 on the NBA. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. You'll start the season with an instant dub. And with DraftKings parlays, everyone's got a shot at an even bigger basketball win. String together multiple bets from the same game or build your parlay across multiple games for a shot at making your payday even sweeter. Basketball's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code HOOPS. That's HOOPS. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code HOOPS. The crown is yours.
Don't miss the action this weekend when the NFL heads to Germany for the Frankfurt games. These games will air on the NFL Network, I'll be watching, and stream on NFL Plus. Again, streaming on NFL Plus. For a limited time, Verizon customers can get Netflix Plus, NFL Plus for just $25 a month with Plus Play. That's $120 in annual savings. Plus Play is a platform where Verizon customers can shop, manage, and save on the subscriptions you already have, like NFL Plus. With NFL Plus Premium, you get access to games on mobile, NFL Red Zone, NFL Network, which means you can catch the Frankfurt games and more. Just go to Verizon.com/thevolume to bundle and save before the game. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Again, that's Verizon.com/thevolume.
For the Celtics, late game execution. There was a Jayson Tatum, especially on the defensive end is what I'm referencing here. There was a Jayson Tatum backcourt steal attempt where the Sixers were in transition and Tatum just like made this like half-assed bullshit jump a passing lane thing in the backcourt, which ended up leaving them horribly undermanned on the in transition defense, and Tobias Harris just had an easy driving layup out of the right corner. The doubling off of Philly's best three-point shooter one pass away, that post up with Embiid off where they made the kick out pass to Tyrese Maxiell. Like, that's not even just the best shooter on the Sixers. That's one of the best three-point shooters in the entire NBA that you're just doubling off of one pass away in a read that Embiid's going to make every time. Like, that needs to be literally like a windshield wiper rotation where, like, as the double's coming, Jaylen Brown's already there at Tyrese Maxiell instead of like Horford goes and then Jaylen Brown goes a second later, and in that second they end up getting a wide open look. I talked about the botched scram switch. This is the one where like Embiid catches on the right block and or Embiid posts up on the right block and Horford runs over to basically scram them out of the switch, but they don't rotate on the back end, and it's a wide open three for Tobias Harris. So like, again, down the stretch of the game, they just have to actually stick to their game plan and do their jobs. If they do that, that would go a long way towards giving them a better chance. And then their offensive approach. This is something I've seen in general with the Celtics over the years, and it really comes down to this: like they're so damn good and they have so many talented players that like they see shots that they like, their bar for what they consider to be a shot that they like to take is very low. And it's not because they're not capable or wanting to find higher quality shots. It's just because that's what they're capable of. Like a semi-contested Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White three is like an okay shot. And they'll win a lot of games making those shots. Right? But they have so much ball handling and athleticism and quickness on the perimeter that they're actually capable of getting great shots, like truly great shots. And so they could tend to be a little impatient in their execution, especially in games against good perimeter defenses where it's not quite as easy and quick. And I thought that was a good example. Like, they were 15 for 47 from three in this particular game. And I counted like a couple dozen threes where I'm like, there's a lot of time left on the shot clock here. Like, why are you taking that three? You know what I mean? Tatum had his worst game of the season, in my opinion. Big part of that was the same type of thing. There were two plays in particular, one on Nick Batum and one on Joel Embiid, where he caught the ball in a cleared ISO with plenty of space to operate in a with like 12, 13 seconds on the shot clock. And one of them, he just kind of like hit Batum with a series of jab steps and took a three, like a really tough three. And then another one, he took, he ended up like just jabbing at Embiid a bunch of times in the right corner. I clipped this play and put it on my Twitter feed. He jabbed at Embiid a few times just to try to see if maybe he could concede a three-point shot to him. And then he swung the ball out of it. And I'm like, dude, like, you torched this guy in the playoffs last year when he was playing too far off of you by shooting, but he's pressing up on you, like, and you're way quicker than him. Beat him off the dribble and make a play that way. Like, they're just in general, I think the Celtics just can be lulled to sleep in terms of their shot selection, and they can really fall into extended stretches of taking bad shots, and this is an example of that. And that's why, like, no matter how good their net rating is, no matter how dominant they are in this regular season, like, I can't, in my right mind, pick the Celtics to win the title before the playoffs unless there is a significant injury to someone on the Nuggets or on the Bucks, right? Because, like, as far as I'm concerned, it is not a regular season issue. It is a postseason issue. They are capable of long, extended offensive lulls, and it starts with Tatum and Brown and their approach. And until that changes, it just isn't. It's just not a problem that's going away. And like, it's very possible that this year ends up being the year where Tatum figures it all out and the Celtics kind of are pushed over the top by that. But I can tell you right now what it's going to be like from my perspective. I'm not going to pick the Celtics. I certainly know that they're capable of it. And I'm going to have to be one of those guys that's like, shit, I'm late to the party. Like, Tatum's that guy now. You know, he won the title. He got it all done. Like, I can't in my right mind make that prediction because it's wishful thinking based on something that I haven't seen yet, if that makes sense.